Hi, this is a story that I've been wanting to tell for a while. It's blurry, but it's true. I was 7 when I moved into this house at Ashbrook Lane. At least that's what my parents tell me. My recollection of that time is vague. I had memories of this big tree on our lawn, running around the garden with the boy next door. And I remember sitting on the living room floor playing with my He-Man figures. But most vivid memories are my recurring nightmares. To the best of my knowledge, they happened every night I stayed in that house. The first time, I woke up during the early hours with a feeling like I was being watched. I lay there in the dark, listening intensely, scared to move in case I drew the prowler's attention. I could hear or see nothing, but the feeling wouldn't go away. There was somebody or something in my room with me. I screwed up my eyes tightly, hoping it would just pass me by. I felt the bed shake, and I stiffened up like a statue, afraid to make even the slightest movement. And then I heard this sound of raspy breathing from the foot of my bed. And I didn't make a sound, but I practically almost pissed myself. It moved around the side of me, then stopped. Moments passed silently. Then I felt the breathing on my face. Instantly, I opened my eyes. I saw an emaciated man in a lab coat looming over me, an expression of horror etched into his pale, gaunt face. Veins bulging from his forehead. I tried to scream, but he grasped me around the throat with his skeleton-like fingers and dragged me out of bed. Jerking and contorting, I tried to grab something to stop him from taking me. He pulled me out of my room onto the landing where I gripped the stair rail. He pulled at my arms and then at my feet, and I kicked and screamed in a furious fight for my freedom. The next thing I knew, it was morning, and I was walking up in my parents' bedroom. They had found me sleepwalking across the landing in the middle of the night. I had a lot of nightmares as a kid, which would put me down to my active imagination. But sleepwalking, that was a first. I saw him again the following night. He yanked me from my bed with no warning, and this time he managed to pull me down the stairs. Once again, I woke up in my parents' bed. My dad had woken in that night and found me lying at the foot of the stairs. I worked myself into such a panic over these dreams that my parents allowed me to stay up late with them this one night. We watched TV, and I strained to stay awake. I don't remember going to bed that night. I just found myself sitting on the stairs, observing the hallway, waiting for him to arrive. A grandfather clock stood in the hallway, ticking away the minutes until part of the wall opened to reveal a concealed doorway from which he emerged. He was wearing the same lab coat I'd seen him wear before, only this time it was smeared with blood. Whatever he had been doing inside of that room, I didn't want to find out. I watched with dread as he slowly and creepily slipped a pair of rubber surgical gloves into his hands. He tented his fingers together, then turned and looked directly at me with his intense, deep-set eyes. A pain grin stretched across his charcoaly face. I rushed up the stairs, calling for help as he crawled behind me, sweeping at my heels. I ran into my parents' bedroom. They were asleep and unaware of the commotion. Before I could reach the bed and shake them awake, my pashor snatched me up in his bony arms and started pulling me away. I managed to grab onto the door frame, and despite his efforts, he could not pry me from it. He relented for a moment, his breath heavy and laboriously against my neck. Slowly, he reached into his coat pocket and withdrew a scalpel before slicing deep into my hands. I realized my grip on the doorframe as blood dripped between my fingers. I shrieked out, but there was no sound. I could see Mom and Dad lying there fast asleep, obviously, as they withered spectrum hauled me out of their room and all the way down the bottom of the stairs. I tried to claw my way back, leaving streaks of blood on the carpet and wall in my wake. He pressed my fingers against my throat. I whimpered and choked, and my limbs thrashed around in frenzy. At this moment, the grandfather clock in the hallway let out a single chime, and he suddenly abandoned his fight. I looked up to see the imminent figure creep back through the door from where it came. The door sealed shut, disappearing into the wall as though it never existed. A point came where I was starting to confuse my dreams with reality. I couldn't tell if this was all in my mind or actually happening to me in the middle of the night. During the daylight hours, I examined the wall in the hallway, looking to see if there was some indication of a secret door. I told my parents and my nan about the dreams and thought I would never doubt their concern. There were not a lot they could do except reassure me. I stayed with my parents when I got particularly distressed, either in the bed or we'd bring the blankets and pillows downstairs and have a sleepover in the living room. Nothing helped. My tormentor found me after night, waiting until Mom and Dad were asleep before hauling me away. I tried to call out, but my screams were always silent as he gripped his hand around my throat. He grew increasingly violent as he tried in vain to drag me into his secret rooms. Sometimes he would use his scalpel across my hand and under my fingernails. Other times he would inject me with a syringe. And it wasn't unusual for him to bite my fingers. As I prepared for the dreams, I rehearsed how I would try to fight him off, what I could grab as he dragged me downstairs. I knew if I could just hold on until the clock chimed, and I would survive another night, because that's when his door sealed shut. What terrified me most was the relaxation that if he got me into his secret room before the chime of the clock, the door would seal behind us and nobody would ever see or hear from me again. And it just scared me. The fact of those dreams scared me even more. Until one night, he got me in.